You're listening to the Slow Ride podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 90th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. This is Tim Hayes.
Hey, this is Matt Allen.
This is Spencer Howe. I'm in Boston. Where are you guys at?
I'm in. Hey guys, news break already. There are 72 kilometers remaining in the second stage of the Tour Down Under. Adam Hansen currently has a minute 20-second lead on the field. I will keep us updated throughout the recording of the podcast. Back to you, little guy.
Minneapolis. I'm in Minneapolis.
Good job.
I am in the Midwest. I am out there. I don't want to announce where I am.
It's a vague Midwest.
Yeah, it's just I'm out here. Cold, miserable, wishing I was back home in lovely Orlando, Florida.
I don't count where you are Midwest. That's like lower Midwest. I'm in the Midwest.
I don't know. Texas is not even part of the Midwest, if you ask me.
Texas? Who thinks Texas is part of the Midwest? Kind of crazy people in Boston are you hanging out with? Everything west of like Philly is the Midwest?
Basically, yeah. And then there's California.
The Midwest. And then there's California, Texas, part of the Midwest.
So
you hit your head or something on your last mountain bike ride?
So you guys been
bike ride.
you guys been following all the news in the world of track cycling with the Track World Cup finishing up and Mark Cavendish taking fourth overall in the men's Omnium. Did you guys see this in Hong Kong? Was this on the top of your radar?
No,
it was
not.
I was vaguely aware that it was happening, but yeah, I can't say it was near the top of my radar.
Can we talk real quick? So Cavendish is trying to get into the Olympics, and it's in the Omnium.
Yeah, he's not in yet. He doesn't have his spot reserved yet.
Well, I think that this result probably got it for him. But what's crazy is like he's now sacrificing a lot of training time for the Omnium, and not really out there getting the miles in for the road. But the amount of Olympic events in cycling on the track is kind of embarrassing. If you look at it. I don't know if you guys took a look, but so on the track at the Olympics this year, you have the Kirin, which is the motorcycle go vroom, really cool classic event. It's only been on I think since 1992, but definitely one of the more entertaining ones. You have the men's sprint. You have the team pursuit. You have our favorite, the team sprint, where we were really good, and then you have the men's Omnium. Now the men's Omnium includes obviously the scratch race, the individual pursuit, the elimination race, the kilo, the flying lap, and then the points race.
I thought they got rid of the kilo.
And then the points race. No, well,
they snuck it back in the Omnium.
They snuck it back into the Omnium, but
yeah.
There was a time when the track cycling. Offerings were really cool and exciting. Like you had the points race, you had the Madison for a while. It's not even in the Olympics anymore.
Yeah, the poker race.
Used to have the kilo, and now we get the elimination race.
It's pretty sweet. That should be a standalone event.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. But
oh man, I'd be so proud to say that I was missing out world champion or something.
This is the lamest program of track cycling.
I've got to believe it's because if you look at UCI accounts and where they make their money, they probably lose so much money just even organizing the track events that they're just slowly whittling it down until it dies.
This is why they need to get rid of the boring ones like the individual pursuit and even the team pursuit, team sprint. But they need to. Did
we just say we like the team sprint?
We like it because we excelled at it when we're the only team doing it in Minnesota.
I like the team sprint, man. Those dudes have legs that are bigger than me.
Right, but my point is the Olympics should focus on the NASCAR style, crash them up, exciting races that people like start to respect bike racing. The layman's
crash
race,
them ups,
the Kieran, the scratch race, the points race, yes, and
the Madison.
The Madison, obviously, yeah, and the elimination or the missing out. They just cut all the other ones out. We don't need a flying lap. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's in the Omnium. You need the sprint race. The sprint race can be exciting.
The Kieran will be the sprint race.
You gotta have the flying if you're gonna do the match sprints.
We're not doing those. They weren't on my list.
Gotta do. Oh, the match sprint's gotta be in.
They can be in the world champs. They can be in the everything else, but they don't need to be in the Olympics. That's the big.
I will say this. At least there's a women's Kieran. It's equal on the track. It's equal men to equal women. Like there's not some messed up rule like some of the Olympic sports. Remember how the women weren't allowed to do ski jumping? At least now it's like even. But man, like why did they dumb it down so much that there are multiple days with nothing on the very limited stuff on the track, and they're building this giant velodrome that is behind schedule for 6 days. And really not even a full schedule. Like, come on, man, run a 200 lap points race. That'd be awesome.
That's always the big problem is you have to build a velodrome. It has to be indoors. You have to meet all these qualifications, and you don't do that many events on it. It makes it tough it makes it a tough sell for the sport. So they really should make it more exciting or more accessible to the non-cyclist casual Olympics fan,
And can we talk about the amazing? What's so funny, little guy?
Yeah, you asked us if we could talk a couple times. This is funny to
me. That's my segue tonight.
It's a sweet transition. One of these times I'm going to be like, I'm just going to say no.
What's up with What's up with the United States only getting 3 people in the? Or is it 2?
2.
Only 2 people in the men's road race.
The men's. Well, I was going to ask, and I assumed that you would know how this
works. That's less than
too.
Morocco. That's less than New Zealand.
Well, is that because they're like in Africa? Like, is Morocco a higher placed in the Africa tour than we are in the American tour?
Yeah, because none of our guys go to South America to go race.
Yeah,
like, we're not getting any points. This is where
every year when Team Mexico comes up and does the Tour of California and gets destroyed, and everyone laughs at them and asks them why are they there, and Twitter's abuzz. This is where that pays off, and like where we laugh and don't go to the Tour of Argentina or whatever, and don't get any Olympic selections.
So isn't this honestly so we have the same amount of selections as Mexico in this? Isn't this like where Chris Horner could be used, right? Like Chris Horner, America's most popular cyclist, we could use him through he's 44 right now. Mm-hmm. We could use him easily till he's 48 for the next go around. I don't even know where the next Summer Olympics are, but like
Tokyo.
His whole, is it? That's right, it is. Like his whole mission, Chris Horner's entire mission should be just to go race like the Tour of, Paraguay or whatever, like in the UCI America schedule. And then like when he's 48, we totally snub him on the Olympics. It was like, cause we get like five spots. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like we have one more spot than Guatemala, but we have less than Belarus.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, Belarus probably has a stronger team.
Yeah.
Like who do you send? Who do you send for the Olympic road race?
Well,
you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it doesn't matter because we have no one that can win it, and
I know who I would
send.
It
just doesn't matter. They're gonna send Taylor Phinney.
You have to send Taylor Phinney. Like Taylor Phinney is our best shot to winning,
and he can't win it.
He could.
No, but think about the guys who have been really talking up this race and targeting it, like Aru and Nibali just went and rode the course. Froome's been out there to inspect the course. It's like serious climbers. It seems like it's a course that's swinging more to those kind of guys, or to like Valverde or something.
So we send Horner.
Yeah, Horner would probably be the best option for us. We won't send him, of course.
Over Talansky?
Yeah.
No, we've had this conversation before. I'm going to go with Horner every day of the week over Talansky. And I know he had a bad year last year, and he says he's going to have a better year this year. No way. Obviously, Vaughters is showing him the door. He's got to run. He's got Pierre Roland.
Our best
Obviously,
bet
Talansky
is the TV time kind of guys. If we're not going to win, we should send the the Taylor
So
Finney.
Tyler.
And
Taylor.
Taylor Finney
TNT
and
Music Factory. This could work.
I'm saying I suggest our two picks, Taylor Finney and Dan Martin, the most popular American cyclist.
Little guy, we walked right into that joke. And, here's the thing. Can we just send Taylor Finney and Tyler Farrar, call it the TNT Dynamite Squad?
Think of the marketing.
Oh, yes. Guys, like this could be, what could be amazing about this?
NBC can get behind this.
Oh, yes. Have you seen pictures of Tyler Farrar at the Tour Down Under?
No.
Like,
is the top not back?
Oh, I don't even know if it's more of a ponytail. But I'm looking more like, I want to know, like, he's getting very close to like living in a van, but like a stylish hipster.
He basically lives in a van. He's a professional cyclist. It's just a really big van because it's Pro Tour.
No, but I think that like it's a lifestyle choice at this point. Like I expect him now that like
he's a West Coast guy. He's
West
probably waiting to retire so he can start smoking weed again.
He's starting to look. he's starting to look like he lives in Key West. Like that's how many like.
Isn't he from?
That's how much he cares.
North of Seattle or something.
Yeah, but he's like
up near where they got that dank weed.
He wants to get as close. He wants to get as close to Cuba as possible.
It all makes sense.
I'm all about Tyler Farrar this year. I'm like Spencer. You convinced me last week. The more I thought about it, that my number 2 team this year might have to be Dimension Data. Now I know that's going to hurt your feelings on this because now it's going to be nothing but disasters.
I was going to say that just dooms them to mediocrity for the whole year.
Guys.
Do you guys think that actually, and this pains me to say it, that our best chance for a decent result, certainly not the win, but a decent result at the Olympics could be the whiny man himself, TJ Van Garderen?
Maybe.
I mean, if we're talking like guys like Froome and Nibali and Valverde, like what other Americans got a chance of climbing with them? It's sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this could be an opportunity where we're like, we're not going to win. We don't have a good prospect to win. Let's send some young guys. Let's send some guys that like aren't even at the Pro Tour level yet and get them some experience,
No, but we did that last time with the mountain biker, and then he's been hurt since. Like you got to send your top level dudes. You got to send Taylor Finney. Taylor Finney is our best shot on any one-day race.
Maybe, yeah.
And in the story, here's the thing. At the end of the day, NBC has so much power, and I cannot think of a better first-day story in the Olympics, like one of those nice 5-minute vignettes of Taylor Finney with his amazing father and his story and his Olympic mom. And you talk about Taylor Finney's story of getting taken out by the motorcycle, one of the USA Cycling motorcycles at the National Championships. And here's a guy that, is pretty close to being back to where he was. And he still has a decent shot. I think that you got to send Taylor Finney. Anyways.
I'll vote for it.
I mean, you could send a Lawson Craddock or somebody like that as well. There's some young climber guys.
That's true. He's a good climber. Or Dombrowski, I guess.
Yep.
He comes along and gets a little better. There's definitely guys on the horizon. Who knows?
Well, let's get to the more important things. The Lingonberry World Cup of cyclocross. Sine Kant takes the win over Ellen Van Looy and Eva Lechner. Of note, Katie Compton started sick in the front row and dropped to 33rd place. But Katie Antonou got a very strong 5th place, just behind Carolyn Miney in 4th. So
that's awesome.
And we'll get to the men's race in a second. And the major takeaway for me, guys, besides seeing Katie Antonou in a battle for 4th place, was that course. Here's a course that was the Twitter was a buzz. It was the first-time venue for a World Cup at Lingonberry. Like I don't even know how to say it, so I'm just gonna say Lingonberries. That course, it reminded me of something straight out of the United States
it had
level
that feel.
cyclocross.
It had that feel for sure.
No, I don't see why people were so down on it. It had some sand.
Did I say
it had
anything
some twists.
down?
You did. You said American. That's everyone in the US's code word for they don't like it or it's not tech enough. So I've got an excuse. That's why I won't do well today.
It's a Chris kid. I'm better at like a Euro race.
Now I'm excited because there's this race that came out and the course looked awesome. And then last year we had a 1 year, first year race World Cup at Milton Keynes that didn't happen again this year as a World Cup, but also had a really, really cool, exciting course. And, I think there's potential for them to reach out or to expand into new courses as much as I like the traditional ones, like there's a few that are kind of stinkers that could probably go.
It sounds like Milton Keynes may be coming back though, right? Because wasn't Milton Keynes canceled this year because it also coincided with like the rugby world championships or something, and that like the township said that they just couldn't host that many events. It didn't sound like it was from it being a lack of success. It sounded like it was almost too much success kind of is hurting it.
We'll have to have our UK listener write in and let us know what actually happened.
Mm-hmm. Get our crack investigative team on this.
On the men's side, Matthew van der Poel takes an impressive victory, 13 seconds ahead of Wout van Aert and Lars van der Haar at 17. Kevin Powles and Tom Musin round out the American podium. So, yes, I watched it from start to finish. Did you?
Okay, I did. Yeah, I just want to say if you just saw the end, I know like if usually I just read a lot of times I just read the results and you'd be like, oh, see how it goes. But just to see how much traffic Van der Poel had to come through, and how amazing it was to watch him patiently pick his way to the front and like pick 5 seconds off every lap. And you would think, oh, he's not going to make it. And then you'd notice they come across the line 5 seconds, hit the front, and straight off the front.
It was definitely patience got him to the front. And because they kept zooming back to him, when you're the world champ, you always have the magnet of the television looking to see where you are. Yeah. And you're like, oh, he's still back in that like third group. And they'd let the camera pan a little bit longer. So you'd see like Lawrence Sweek off the front, and then you would see others coming up, and then you would still see the world champion, and you're like, does he have it? And then he did. I mean, and the sick tail whip on the flyover, and let's not forget the wheelie. The wheelie, and he held that wheelie for a while.
He's just so good right now.
Is he is he trying to go like the Peter Sagan route, or do you think it's just because he's a kid?
I think he's at Peter Sagan level in the world of cyclocross.
This is the millennial generation coming into a traditional sport and just kicking it in the ass and telling it to get with the times and deal with it, It's kind of funny.
I think is anybody actually complaining about the way Van der Poel
I have no idea.
Like finished, because I just feel like it's nothing but love and excitement. Like the way he handles a bike. The way he almost looks like slightly out of control all the time.
If he didn't have the last name Van der Poel, there might be more complaining. But since he does, I think he gets a pass a little bit.
Yeah, since he's like cycling royalty.
There's some crazy.
Did you guys remember that his grandpa is Polander? I'm saying his name wrong, but Raymond Polander. I totally forgot that that was his grandpa. I knew he was a Van der Poel, but that I forgot that his grandpa, finished second in the Tour twice and podiumed in like every other single race that ever existed on the road. I totally forgot that. And then there was a little cycling news article the other day. I was like, oh yeah, so he's got parent stock that's ridiculous. His brother is a decent pro as it is. You like forget that his brother is like a decent cyclocrosser. And we'd probably be like talking about him if Matthew wasn't around.
In Van der Poel's like handling, to go back to that a little bit, guy, was that like I remember him coming up one of these crazy hills at the course. Nothing super tech, but there was definitely a rut leading up into this hill, and he was carrying so much speed into that he was on the razor's edge of falling over and crashing out of the race, and he kept it up. And then also like when he does those crazy like dismounts, and sometimes he just throws that bike like out there when he's running with it, like it just holds onto it from the stem against all like intuition of what you're supposed to do, and then he still jumps back on. I mean, it's just hard to explain. You know what I'm talking about when he holds on to the stem and the
sort
rear
of whips
wheel
the bike around. He doesn't have like that. He doesn't in any way have the form that people will tell you have to have. Well,
he's
did you notice who else?
World champ.
Who else kind of has that form is the Confidus guy, the Venturini or whatever.
Venturini, I was about to say.
And he's been rocking the top 10, which has been awesome. One, because he's French. Two, he's on Confidus. When was the last time they got a top 10 in anything? And it's a new guy, and it's great to see somebody new suddenly just like pop back into the sport. Like obviously he was a really good junior, and but yeah, he sort of rides kind of in the same style. Obviously he's not at the level of Vanderpool right now, but like he kind of whips the bike around and is a little casual with it. It's kind of fun to watch.
So, and we've talked about this in the past. There's like these new teams, the Marlux Napoleon Games team. Do you guys know what Napoleon Games are?
It's like a online gaming thing, isn't it?
I'm really hoping it's like a Magic the Gathering type of thing.
I was hoping that it was like Strategio, right? Like kind of like some like oh, you're Napoleon and you're trying to take over the world, and then they were trying to like expand into the cyclocross market. But I did just Google it, and sadly, it is just another online casino games and sports betting.
Wait, so their casino isn't Golden Palace? They're a casino
not anymore.
Too?
Now you got Napoleon
well, they're not
games.
A sponsor anymore, but they were a casino, right?
It's I guess. So, anyways, there you go.
What is Vanderpool's? The BK, CK, whatever? Aren't they like?
I don't know, that's probably just like that's probably some kind of like any team sponsored from Netherlands or Belgium is probably flooring or some kind of industrial.
I just imagine it's like work boots and like forklifts.
It's a good bet.
If I was a guy in a warehouse, I know what would inspire me to buy a certain forklift would be like Vanderpool whipping a wheelie down the finishing straight. I'd be like, I'm buying that forklift.
Hey, how about that course though with the highway dividers that formed like a crazy like serpentine? I mean, I like that. That was straight out of like every local cross race, and that's like my only fear is that this course justifies all of the garbage that we have to ride in every week. Like, it would be nice to like have to do something like this once a week or once a season, kind of like how it is with this schedule. But this was this reminded me of every cross race I've ever done.
You don't like that, but do you like? There's a race earlier in the year, somewhere in Belgium where it goes through like the shipping yard of like a building supply company.
Yeah. No, that's great.
They
forklifts are out.
They line it with like pallets full of like sand. You're okay with that?
Absolutely.
But you're not okay with this. What if this was actually like this race was thrown at like the local municipal like roadways department?
I'm okay with the use of the highway dividers. That's not my problem. Was that it was like the 180, 180, 180, long straightaway, 180, 180, crazy kind of 180, almost pinwheel through a gazebo. Like it reminded me of every city park.
Almost pinwheel.
Like it wasn't almost pinwheel through the gazebo. Like it was like, hey, there's a gazebo. Let's ride through it.
Here's what I like is that still Vanderpool won. Like the day before he did a little race in the Netherlands or something. It was super muddy. There was a huge ditch he was jumping over. And he still won that too. He kind of just wins wherever.
The only American to place from his front row start, actually had a decent start, but it went straight into the pits, was Jeremy Powers, finishing 3 minutes down in 23rd place. So Powers was there. Apparently his rival, Stephen Hyde, was sick, so he did not take to the start line. So he will be there next week where they return to the final World Cup of the year, which is Hoogerheide, before going to the World Championships in 2 weeks' time. But guys, speaking of World Championships, the big news is that our movement for success worked. We should be proud of 100% of what we did. It had nothing to do with the amazing skills. It had everything to do with finishing 16th place at the national championships because,
it's true.
Gentlemen, Tweakin is in the World Championships. Anthony Clark, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Anthony. You made it to the World Cup. Like, oh, crap. I want to interview you.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I'm so stoked for that guy.
Yeah, what a series of events. You know, like USA Cycling announces their selections. There's a bunch of raised eyebrows because, Trebon's kind of injured. Page has been hit or miss. You know, nobody knows what's going to happen. And, a couple of guys back out. And then the internet campaign starts. And, boy, a lot of people hit it hard, including our podcast, vouching for Anthony and for his breed of racing, and bringing that to Europe, introducing it to the world.
So here's the question: do you think that the actual internet campaign had a lot to do with Anthony Clark being selected, or do you think it's his skills? I bet you it has almost. I bet that was already on their radar. They're like, oh, we should invite Anthony Clark. He's won a UCI race. He's got like some pedigree. He's with the Jam Fund. I'm sure they kind of maybe talked to J Pow. Like, who else do you think? And he's definitely got to have the points, right? I mean, he finished better than a lot. I mean, granted, he got 16th at Nationals, but one, bad crash can cost a lot.
Yeah, 16th at Nationals was actually probably a poor result for him. I think he would have been hoping for a little better. He did win the Verge Series, which is, I know you guys don't care, but it is a huge deal.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a lot of races. Maybe you've heard of some of them, Gloucester, these things. Anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He should have been on the radar if he wasn't. I don't think the internet campaign hurt him at all. It probably, if we are to believe that this is a new USA Cycling that listens to the people and cares about opinions and the membership, then I got to think the internet campaign did have a lot to do with it.
Well, I don't even know who else you would have picked, because at that point you already lost Page. He's had health problems.
Well, Kerry Warner was
Trayvon
an
Driscoll.
obvious pick. I don't know if he could go or not. Maybe they asked him and he turned it down. But
I'm kind of surprised Warner didn't get the nod in there. Did he not?
I don't know. There's lots of dudes. That finished.
Because he was good at Nationals, and he's not
Krudov,
someone's name who I ever hear until the end of the year, I feel like.
I expected them to go with Krudov because he's a Colorado guy. To be honest, and I'm cynical, but I was happy with the redone selections. I thought they made some good picks. I'm excited for everybody. Duran's a good pick. He's getting outshined by the internet spotlight on Anthony Clark, but he's also a good pick.
Well, he can make it all the script flipped if he gets 16th place at the World Championships.
Oh my God! Sure. Can you imagine? That would be one hell of a result. So, hey guys, I have another, just a little segue.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what's that?
Peter Sagan finished second place today at the Tour de San Luis. He lost to Fernando Gaviria Rendon of Etixx Quickstep.
Isn't that what happened last year?
Had a lot of second places last year.
Yeah,
probably.
So are you trying to say he's on track to repeat for Worlds?
Maybe.
Okay.
Hey guys, I got to do just a second. 63 kilometers remaining in stage 2 of the Tour Down Under. Adam Hansen has rebuilt his gap to 2 minutes.
Good.
Nice.
This is captivating stuff. So, like all of these races, is there an early season race that you guys even care about?
I always like the Tour of the Mediterranean. I don't even know if it happens this year because it's kind of been on and off.
I always like
the years. But I always had that nice last day up Mount Ferron or Faro or whatever the heck. You could see the early season Frenchman go for the win.
I'm a fan of the Tour of Langkawi.
Yeah,
when's
back
that?
In the day?
When is that race?
It used to be in the spring. I don't even know when it is anymore.
Well, my favorite, opening season road race, early season road race, to really see who's going well, who's been training in the off season and everything. Is the traditional Hedvok.
That's not I'm talking early. I'm talking January, February.
Oh, well, that's not road season.
It's not road season.
The Tour Down Under, like maybe Qatar or Oman. Are those races still going on? Oman,
what? Where?
Oman.
I don't remember. One of them's gone. I think the one that had hills and looked interesting is gone.
I've never even heard of any of these races.
Tour de Langkawi, little guy, is in January.
If they happen before Hedvok on the road
already
calendar,
happened, or it's happening now?
they don't exist.
Yeah. No, it happens like next week.
There's a lot of good French races that happen in the south of France.
Yeah,
before
Pyrenees.
Hedvok.
Oh,
before that.
So, guys, I can't keep up with all of these races. I try, but Tour de St. Louis.
I stopped trying.
I don't know if I'm supposed to watch Tour Down Under. I don't really care because cross season's going on.
Road season doesn't start till March.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're not supposed to watch either. This is like a televised training camp. There's no need to watch. Like,
Basically,
if anyone's freaking out that Sagan got second, Sagan's not freaking out that he got second.
This is a parade.
He's
yeah.
like, oh, that's pretty cool considering training ride, and yesterday I flew across the world, so it doesn't even matter.
Oh, anyway.
I wouldn't even be able to go for a ride if I'd been on like a 12-hour flight from, like the Czech Republic or something all the way to South America. I would just be out for like a week after that.
So, do you guys want to talk about the new and greatest team on the international cycling scene, Russ Velo, getting a
so
Giro
good.
d'Italia
I've been a big fan for
wildcard
years.
pick?
Yeah. I just want you guys to know I've been a big fan for years, so don't go jumping on the Russell Vela bandwagon now thinking you're all cool. I've been down with them for years. They're into the coolest designer synthetic drugs. They're cool guys.
Hey, but do you think that Team Southeast got in because Pipo designed the jersey?
Absolutely.
Didn't they get in because didn't they win the trophy to whatever, the Italian series, or was that the other Italian team?
I mean, the only downside of these, I
thought they had like an automatic bid.
There's a lot of Italian teams. Okay, like
Yeah,
what's
I
crazy
think
is
there's a couple.
that they did a great job of taking all the teams that have crazy like too many names on the jerseys, right? Like the Vinny Fantini team. Like
Well,
how
they
many
did take the
how many
number
sponsors
one.
they got? They got De Rosa. They've got so much on there. Then you got Southeast Venezuela, which is just because the kit with Pipo. So I understand that. And then of course everyone's fan favorite, the Bardini CSF team. I mean that team's got some good high vis day glow going on. I mean this is the most Italian of all. And of course the only reason the Russian squad probably got in is because they ride Colnago.
Yeah, they must have paid somebody a lot of money.
That makes sense.
Well,
yeah.
what do you think about I don't know if you guys have heard the little rumors going around that they're basically like a baby Katusha team,
Right.
And now Tim's favorite bike racer from last year, Zacharin, has basically got like a team and a half working for him.
Oh, do you think that? Oh, wow.
I've heard that people
So
saying, "Hey,
you're throwing down the collusion gauntlet already." Is that what you're saying?
oh yeah." I've heard other people throw it down. I'm just backing it up.
Interesting.
I don't trust Russians. I'm pretty racist when it comes to Russians.
Jeez.
That's the American Flyers in you coming out.
They're
some Kevin
You know it's
Costner.
true. They're hairier than us. They're much, much, much hairier than us. If American Flyers taught me anything, it's that the Russian people could really use a razor. At least the Soviet people. They didn't have razors in Soviet Russia.
Hey, this is Zach McDonald, DJ the one and only Louisville Foam Party, and you're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
So, it's kind of like boring season because like the cross races are good. We got the
So we
boring
went from
road races.
silly to boring, just like that.
Yeah, it's
That's the
just-
direct transition to me. Silly
Yeah, more
to
or
boring.
less. Yeah,
Well,
I think so.
It's a downtime between, we have a peak for all the national championship cross races, U.S. Nats and everybody, all the other countries out there have their nationals. And then you get Worlds, and you're after nationals, you're jazzed for Worlds, but it's still a couple weeks away, and you've got this downtime in between, even though there's races and they're good and it's fun to watch.
There's plenty good cross races.
Yeah, but you're still you're pumped for Worlds, and it's not coming soon enough. And then you get the Tour Down Under coming in, and you start to get confused and depressed that cross is ending and road is starting, but it's not exciting yet. And yeah, it's a weird time of year.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is weird, and instead we're worried about, and we're discussing the lack of the ability of some of our best racers to get to the World Championships, right? Like in cyclocross, and and I know Derek Bouchard Hall talks about how much he wishes we could send these folks, all expenses paid and give them the support that they deserve and need. But man, we have someone like Emma Swartz who's out there doing a whole fundraiser on a Rally Me website through her Trek team, and they're fundraising just to get her to go to the USA Cycling Championships. It's crazy to think of, or the World Championships. It's crazy to think that we don't have that support, and it's also the punishment of us being on the other side of the world. I don't think Emma would have had a problem to get to the World Championships in Louisville at the time. Instead she goes to Marian University, and in Indiana now she has to get all the way over to Zolder, Belgium, to just race in the U23s.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's obviously considerably more expensive, but it is such a bummer that you get nominated to be on the U.S. team, and that doesn't mean anything. That just means you wrote yourself a huge bill to go do a race, which is awesome. Like, I would be so pumped to ever make a world's team, but I also wouldn't be able to afford it, and obviously a lot of people can't.
That was one of the great tweets we saw over the last few days. Was Brad Schoner, who does a lot of the announcing for U.S. races, tweeted, that USA Cycling should just do the world selections announcements directly on the GoFundMe, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. I mean, good news is Emma, who's just like a collegiate kid, she was able to raise all the money that she needed, and USA Cycling Development Fund matched $1,000 donation, so it got to the $3,000 that she needed. She wasn't asking for too much, but she's going to be able to go. But again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because you want these folks to go, and I know Anthony Clark has got a fundraiser going because people want to see him there, and so you can crowdsource it, which is nice. Chip in $10 to get him there, but it all adds up. But it's just to get all of those, it's crazy to think about that we are at that level, and here we are, and individuals are spending $1,000 on power meters to go race. Oh my God, guys! I know.
So you're just saying that if one master, like maybe yourself, was willing to maybe forego a titanium bike, Campy Chorus or something.
You've read mine.
Then one of these racers would just be able to go. All we have to do is get 3 45 plus racers that don't need to train with power to give up their power meters. We could send Anthony Clark to Worlds, all expenses paid.
Little guy, I'm going to interrupt you right there. So I
think I got a good idea here.
I get back from Scotland. I don't know if I told you last time we talked.
It's going to be kind of like a Robin Hood thing. I'm going to steal power meters.
I don't know if I don't know if I don't know if you knew this because you weren't listening while you were out stealing power meters in the middle of the night. I was in Scotland last week, and I hustled back from Scotland, and my brand new Moots road bike was completely dialed in and built up at Winter Park Cycles in Orlando, Florida. And I go pick it up because the next day on Saturday I have a bike ride, and everyone there at the bike shop's like, "Man, I love your bike. This bike is great. I've never seen a bike this awesome." People are stoked. People are like, "Hey, I rode it." It's showing up on Strava before I even get to the store because people are like, "I did a hot lap on Tim's new bike." Pretty exciting, right? And I go there, I pick up the bike, I ride it the next day. It floats over the brick streets, none of the rattle tin can. I'm very excited.
You have cobblestones in Orlando?
Oh yeah, it's all the bricks. they don't need a plow. There's a lot down here. So I fly over the cobbles. I get to the bike shop. I'm ready to crush it. I go crush it. 60 miles with my buddies. Get back to the cafe. I kid you not. I go ready to show off the new fucking stallion. There's 2 moots already there in the fucking leaning up against a flower box, and I look over to see the only on their bike group that's around, and these guys are quintessential 55 plus jacked up stem guys that are maybe just doing 20 miles with their buddies, going to have coffee, good for them, but totally on the doctor program of the
doctor program. Is that a South Florida epithet? Sort of.
No. Doctor program means they are the doctors. Their doctor program is hey, let's go ride with buddies and talk about what favorite
doctor stuff.
Thought that was what you
favorite
surgeries.
Favorite surgeries, or who's going to be a consultant on who's next lawsuit to raise the money or whatever. And nice dudes, totally rocking the moots. And then it was at that moment that it hit me that I may have made a bad decision. You know what I mean? Like it hit me like, oh my god.
You made a good decision. Here's
I
the
am
thing: is
that
Tim,
guy.
you're gonna grow into the bike. It's like when you were a kid, and your mom, she put the leash on you. She took you to the store with her, and she made you buy some clothes that were a little too big, and she said you're gonna grow into it, Super Rookie.
Mm-hmm. It's funny.
She called
interesting.
you Super Rookie, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I've
called me
heard
Super
that.
Rookie.
It's funny the directions we've all gone with our road bike choices. You see, Tim has embraced the early masters, the baby masters world with the titanium. Little guy's keeping it real in his weird, maybe even older masters.
I've had the same bike for 10 years.
Yeah, custom built
same
steel
cables.
bike.
I've had the same cables on it.
Yeah. But you both got campy, so that puts you both in the crotchety old weirdo category.
I have 10-speed square taper Centaur. I think we're in a different world.
Now,
What's square tapered mean?
Yeah, I know. What is square taper?
I chose the carbon
It's what
bike.
track racers use.
Yeah. I chose the carbon bike, but I went with the lugged carbon in a classy style of time. So, but I do have the Shimano on it. So, I think I'm a little hipper and a little cooler, but still having some very classy qualities.
What hipper and cooler? Come on. There's nothing hipper and cooler than old campy. Always the choice. It's like that Billy D. Williams ad for Colt 45 back in the day. It's like there's a guy and he's holding like a old 10-speed lever. He says works every time.
Yeah, except for it's Shimano.
That is a lame way to try to steal my joke. Just saying, but no, it's not.
But I mean, everybody listening's like, yeah, but it's Shimano, So I'm just saying what everyone's thinking.
Oh, no, our listeners.
Anyways, so any Greenway stories for us, little guy?
Here's the thing. I don't have a Greenway story. I have 2 messenger stories for you, and they're good. You're gonna like these.
Okay.
I'm not actually riding the bike during them, but I mean I use my bike to get there, and they're slightly involved.
Sure.
First story is from last Friday. I'm hanging out at the Coors Can 225, everyone's favorite Stanley Cup trophy building in downtown Minneapolis, and security guards come over to me. I'm sitting in the little atrium reading a book, and they're like, "Hey, you have that bike out there with the yellow bags on it, right?" I'm like, "Yes." I think he's going to tell me that my panniers got stolen or something. And he's like, "Well, we're just doing a random security check around the building, and we test just anything that's outside for explosives, and your bag came up positive for explosives." And I'm like, okay.
Well, you're like, it's just my legs, bro. I got lots of watts.
So I didn't know what to say. I was like, this is such a thing, right? So I was like, well, I can tell you I don't have explosives in my bags. And he's like, well, he's like, the thing, and this is where it gets confusing. He tries to explain to me a little bit what they use to test on the bags. He explains in this very vague way that they use something that is yellow. They have a testing thing that like sprays on, and it turns yellow if there's any explosives there, and then it like disappears and dissipates. Well, my bags are yellow. So right. They use this thing to test, but the problem is their bomb test is foiled by the color yellow. So he's like, so I'm sure you don't have any explosives in there, but I just have to, I have to follow up on it. And I'm like, okay, I mean, you want to go look at them? Go for it.
Did they want to blow up your bike? Is that what you're getting at?
Was he like, no, I want you to go open it up?
Well, yeah. So here's the
20
thing.
feet
So
away.
yeah, he's standing there, and there's another security guy with him who's standing a few feet back, like radioing in to like the main office that they're talking to me and like mumbling shit into his like breast pocket.
And this is 220 South 6th Street.
225.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, you just want to go open it? And he's like, well, like if you could come. And I was like, you need me to open the bag for you? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. So I get up, put my stuff in my bag. I walk out there with this guy. I open my bags,
Did you say
barely-
Did you say bang really loud just to see if you shit his pants?
No. But here's the thing: is he didn't get very close to the bag, and he barely looked in. And you guys will remember the way when like early 2000s, not long after 9/11, you'd go to the Federal Reserve and they would sort of glance in your bag.
Yeah.
There'd be a guy with like a machine gun standing at the gate, and he'd be like, and they'd like make you open your bag, and they'd kind of peek in. And we all have bags with like black liners.
Yeah.
You can't see anything in them, and they sort of just look real quick, and they're like, okay, and you're like
it's
you
fine.
didn't look.
Yeah.
That's what this guy did to me. After all this rigmarole about explosives, he just sort of barely glanced. And I actually asked him with the second bag, I was like, did you see in it? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, all right, thanks. And they walk away. And I was like, that's so weird.
What if your bags were full of bananas?
Well, obviously they would.
Oh my god,
they would not,
dude, that's
what if,
multiple yellow.
well, here's the thing.
That's
What if
like-
somebody makes yellow bombs that look like bananas? We're all going to die. Because they won't know what they are. They'll say, "Oh, it tests as a bomb, but it looks like a banana. It must just be a banana."
Yep.
So that's weird, right?
Well, we're all sure. Don't worry, anyone listening. All our foreign listeners from the UK, our UK listener, and we have a Namibian listener.
Hey, Dan.
If they're listening, and don't worry, because the NSA listens to everything that everyone says in the US, so they're already on this. I'm sure
They're totally on this.
Look, you're working with panniers now.
Fuck yeah, man! I'm old. Yeah. No, I've been working with the backpack and the 2 panniers. That way, I don't have to make multiple trips back to our like one location in the morning when I get a big pile of shit.
Oh wow, panniers! Are you the?
Load the
That's
panniers,
cutting edge. Like who
load
else
my
is
bag.
rocking panniers?
Nobody is right now. Just me.
Smart.
Well, no, I lie. I think Fred's got one, but it's full of beer, so he can't put any packages in.
Fred's always been ahead of the curve too.
Yeah.
Caitlin used to rock one. I gotta give the news desk love for that. She had one before.
Hey, speaking of news desks, she's not giving us the updates that this news desk is, but Adam Hansen has 40K to go, and he has a 2-minute gap on the Peloton.
Why is he going so slow?
Yeah, it's not going to make it.
Dude, they're on a 7-kilometer climb right now.
We're not going to be able to.
I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Tour Down Under. It is quite.
I mean, you guys know the math, right? He needs a minute for every 10K. So he has to have 4 minutes right now if he wants to survive.
Yeah, he's not going to survive. But at least he's the hometown boy. He's getting some.
I mean,
some cameras.
He's gonna probably sell some shoes.
Tim's talking trash like it's a climb that he's on, like he didn't just climb Mount Everest. What? Come on, you guys know this story, right?
He climbed Mount Everest, like in the off season.
He climbed to the base camp of Mount Everest in the off season, and just came back from there, and wants to climb to the top of the thing next off season or something crazy.
Oh, I was hoping he would do it between the Giro and the Tour, take a couple easy weeks off the bike and just climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, he gave a pretty ridiculous interview about, his idea of cross training. He was like, yeah, I don't really ride in the off season. I just do other completely different stuff. And then I come back and smash everyone. And here he is off the front of the Tour Down Under, one of the world's most grueling and challenging races, I'm sure.
I mean, at this point, it's almost a monument, right?
Basically, yeah. It's probably the 8th or 9th monument.
I don't even understand. It's like you liked Hansen, no, you don't like him.
No, I like it.
I like the guy. I like his shoes.
I'm very excited about this. Yeah. His shoes are fine, but I'm more excited about the wacky unconventional training. I hope he just doesn't even use a power meter. He probably does, though. But.
I'm sure he does, yeah. But yeah, he was like, his interview was wacky. He was like, yeah, so I had an off season and I learned how to do computer programming. And that's what I did. And then I came back and started racing at the World Tour level again. So, yeah.
Oh, that dude's awesome.
He's a character.
I like that guy.
We need more of him, for sure.
Yes, we do. I like how he does all the Grand Tours.
Mm-hmm.
How many is he at now? He's at like...
I think this is, if he starts the Giro, he's probably at like 14.
And that's the record, right?
Oh, yeah.
In a row?
Is it? He's got to keep doing them. I mean, any team that he's on would be an idiot not to put him in. It's so much press.
Yeah, he has to, and he's gonna keep going as long as he can keep riding, I'm sure.
And he actually gets in moves and he
Oh,
gets
yeah.
more camera time.
It's
and
not like he's a waste of space.
Yeah.
Like so many other people.
We're not gonna name. We're gonna name names. Should we start naming names?
Like, who's a waste of space?
Yeah.
I mean,
the entire Russ Velo team.
the entire Europe car team.
Ooh, they don't exist. Direct Energy.
Dude, they're gonna have a good year.
They're gonna have a good year. I'm looking for some co-car domination in the sprints this year. I'm gonna go out and call that shot right now. We're gonna see some co-car domination in the sprints this year. I don't think Kittle will be quite there with the new squad yet, and at least for the first 6 months of the road season, co-car.
Do you think Cocard's going to bring the dove of excitement to Direct Energy?
I think he is. I think Buhani doesn't have it. I don't think any of these guys have it.
Buhani's got it.
Wait, we're doing the same thing we did last year, which is we talked about all these other sprinters, and then Greipel went to the tour and just crushed everything.
But it's because everyone else was hurt.
Sort of were they?
Weren't they? When's the Olympics this year? When's the Olympics? Is that July, June?
It's right after the tour.
Okay,
2016.
So is Cavendish going to the tour?
Yeah,
no.
Of course he is.
I don't think he is. I bet he won't.
Of course he is. It's too much money.
has to.
He's gonna want to go do specific training.
Too much money. There's too much money.
20 minute
there.
efforts on the track and then take a break. I don't know. Whatever. I think I always wanted to say Direct Energy is just going to do well because just to show up Vaughters.
Yeah.
I think it's all I think Vaughters talking shit about Pierre Roland's former training practices is probably the best thing that ever happened to that team because now Vogler and Concard and Chavanel are going to come out swinging.
Yeah.
And Cannondale's going to suck like they always do.
Dude, it's so weird not having Garmin on there anymore. Was there even a big announcement that Garmin left? Did you guys know this was happening? Did I miss that?
I think
somewhere?
It was rumored. I think it was rumored plenty. I think the switch on the kits is the weirdest thing because it's definitely a throwback more to the Argyle, but it's still green, and it's just kind of weird. It's like they listened to our podcast enough to understand that green was the color they had to embrace, and then but it just looks weird.
It's a strong green. I like that.
Yeah.
What would a weak green look like?
A weak green would be like the old liquid gas kit, kind of this weird is it green, is it not? It's kind of weak. I like this green is we're the green team.
What are the colors people are most colorblind in? Because I think what are the
isn't it red blue or red?
It's
green?
red blue. Okay. Well, that's where you should go with your kid. That way, it's sort of open to interpretation to everybody.
Is that kind of what Lampre's going for? Or?
Yeah, maybe. It's kind of like that what color's the dress controversy from last year. What color's the kid? What else we got here?
I got nothing else.
That's
done.
probably pretty much everything, huh?
Yeah.
Sort of touched the Russell Velo, but that's...
Well, let's wrap it up then.
Hey, guys, real quick before we end, we did get 4 recent reviews on iTunes that I feel should definitely be read out. First off, great podcast, 5 stars from T Fawcett 28. Found this via the Crosshairs post, and it is a great mix of racing, bikes, and humor. Thanks, T Fawcett.
Yeah.
We got a solid show from Raccoon 12. Great podcast for those who are into all aspects of cycling. Hosted by a fat bike curious guy, an ex-quasi bike shop owner guy, and a guy from Minneapolis.
Didn't you read that one last time? You just reading that again just to make fun of me?
No, we just never made the air. This show will help keep you entertained. Could use a bit more frequent and longer episodes. This podcast is heading somewhere. Thanks, Raccoon 12.
12. I love that there's 11 raccoons.
So Spencer, you're the fat bike curious guy. I'm the ex-quasi bike shop owner, and you're just a guy from Minneapolis.
I would say that Spencer is more than curious.
He's an owner.
He's an owner, yeah.
Bikes, advice, and BS from ATF Johnny. A bunch of really good cycling info, and then Tim chimes in. Oh, crap.
I like this one.
These guys definitely finish on the wide-angle podium for cycling podcasts. Oh, man.
Compliment and an insult in one.
That's really well done, because what was crazy is I actually read that on the air without screening that at all, so that's just thanks. That kind of hurts a little bit. Hey, we got a a 4-star review here, guys. This is dropping us down.
Is that our first 4-star review?
I think it's our second.
Okay.
Wolfgang 844. I really enjoy your show. Very entertaining, and I love the playful banter. I live north of Milwaukee, and I enjoy the Midwest references from time to time. I'd suggest to take a page from the Two Johns cycling podcast. Never heard of it. And request listener feedback. I'm sure your audience would love to chime in. Well, we do request listener feedback, Wolfgang844. Maybe if you knew that and listened, you'd be giving us a 5-star review. You can email us at theslowridepodcast@gmail.com.
Or hit us up on Twitter at slowridepod.
So, I will say this, Eric. Thanks for the comment, and you are correct. The Two Johns podcast is probably one of the better cycling podcasts of all time, and it would be great to get the listenership that those guys got at their peak. So, again, always send us your feedback at theslowridepodcast@gmail.com or at theslowridepod on Twitter. And with that, we'd like to thank Rhymesayers Entertainment and their artist BK1 for the intro and outro music. We'd also encourage you to subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. And most importantly, we want you to wave at your fellow cyclists. No matter what kind of bike they're riding, they're cyclists. Wave. It's not the end of the world when you're doing your interval. And with that, get off the road.
Yeah, take those bombs out of your saddlebags.
Just a banana.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.